No intro. Let's do this. Alrighty, hey guys, welcome to another episode where I talk about voiceover and all the questions that there are involving it that I personally can answer. And one of them that has, not really a question, but it's something that a lot of people have been saying a lot on Twitter. I kind of have been talking about the same thing, but I don't think a lot of people understand exactly why certain things in the industry, voiceover particularly, exist. This also might include acting and stand-up comedy, but mostly we're just talking about voiceover and more specifically, anime in voiceover. And we're, of course, talking about gatekeepers, which is a phrase that is used quite a lot. And it's used as kind of a derogatory term to kind of refer to people that are holding others out of a particular field of voiceover, trying to prevent them from getting jobs, from doing auditions, from even being seen or noticed by studios and executives and producers and directors, what have you. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yes, there are things called gatekeepers. Well, they don't call themselves gatekeepers. It's a term that's used to describe basically what they're doing. And what it is basically if there are a group of people that are already in a field, again, we're more specifically talking about anime, and they are the people that are kind of more or less in charge, people that run the dubbing studios as well as voice most of the characters, that are the gatekeepers who are preventing the studios and the directors and other people from sending out open casting calls, from letting other people audition, they're basically preventing people that aren't in their group from auditioning or even getting the work. That's what it means by gatekeepers. Now, this is not just anime. This is not just cartoon. This is not just video game. This is in basically all fields of the higher end of voiceover, even though a lot of people would not describe anime as the higher end of voiceover. And we'll get to that in a second, which is one of the things that makes there being anime, more specifically anime gatekeepers, kind of an odd thing, but there's a reason for it. Now, you'll see this a lot when you see a lot of your friends who are in voiceover. You'll see on their Twitter feed or whatever and say that, I'm happy to announce that this blah, blah, blah is my first anime role or whatever, and they talk about the anime that's coming out soon, all that kind of stuff. You'll see that a lot. And you're not going to be able to go and ask them, how do you get into anime voiceover? Doesn't matter who you ask. Doesn't matter how you ask. Doesn't matter how long you've known that person. More than often, and I mean like 99% of the time, they will ignore you, they will block you, or they will tell you to not even bother. And if you try and go and find ways of auditioning, you'll find that it's very hard to audition for any kind of work within that field. And the only people that are getting the work seem to be friends of friends or friends of the director, friends of the producers, friends of the studio, or people that are, family members. And it seems like a very shady and kind of dishonest way of going about that kind of business. In the sense that it sometimes feels almost entirely of nepotism. Now, this all everything that I've said is kind of more or less an outsider looking in. Everything of that is an outsider looking in. And I'm about to explain why this kind of keeping the gate closed and only opening it up for, people that they know to get in and actually start getting work. Because one thing that I've noticed is the second you see someone announce that it's their first anime, they start getting anime roles rather quickly. But the blank spot, everyone knows how to get into voiceover, pretty much. You can go online, you can type in, how do you do voiceover? You'll find 1,000 different videos. You'll find my playlist, you'll find my videos, you'll find videos from so many other people. But you will not find pretty much anyone talking about how to go from doing voiceover and getting good at it and making money to getting into anime, actually getting the anime work. Most of the time, that is a very tight-lipped kept secret. Even though it's not really a secret, you know the people that are already working on it, and they know you. And they only want to work with people that they know. Again, anime isn't really lucrative. It's not really respected as the high end of voiceover. Of course, it's fun, and if you're really good at it, you can make a lot of money, especially if you're the person who runs the studio. You can, do most of the jobs, most of the gigs, most of the voices, most of the characters, and make a fair amount of money for it. However, it is not well paying if you compare it to other areas, to video game or to cartoon or animation on a more professional setting, especially on SAG, on the Screen Actors Guild union setting, which is why there's so many people that are trying to make anime part of the union, regularly part of the union, which I kind of object to, because then it becomes even more impossible for newcomers to the anime industry to even get the work. And here's why there are gatekeepers. Because it is not lucrative. Because to do one role does not pay really anything. It does not pay a lot. You pretty much only do anime if you enjoy it, or you enjoy going to the conventions and meeting the fans, or you were a fan of the anime. That's really the only way that you benefit from it at all, is going to the conventions and, with the fan base and signing autographs, doing photos and stuff like that. That's really the only way that you genuinely profit off doing anime. Outside of that, there really is no real money. Now, personally, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it not being part of the union. I'm fine with it not being part of the Screen Actors Guild. I'm okay with that. But I can see that it is a problem, the fact that it's not paying so well. If there was some way of making more money off anime, if the studios doing the dubbing was able to pay people more, they could actually hire more voice actors. As it currently stands, being the fact that per character that you do pays very, very little, the only way for the people who regularly do anime to make enough money to make it worth it is for them to do almost all the characters. That's why Funimation basically has a small handful of voice actors for one show, and they do every single character, every single voice. And that's so the more characters they do, the more money they make, the more it's worth it. And that's because of how little it actually pays. So if they were to let more people who genuinely are skilled and could genuinely do it in, there would be less work for those who already do the work, for those who are already dubbing the characters. And because of that, it wouldn't be profitable or wouldn't be worth everyone's time. Now, for people like me who, totally fine doing roles that don't pay that well, as long as I'm enjoying it, I'd be fine with that. You know, I enjoy doing stuff for the fans. I enjoy doing characters that are written well. I enjoy dubbing. I've done that a good bit, just not on a higher end Funimation professional level. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I would personally benefit from dubbing even if it didn't pay well. Now, for a lot of people that's pretty much the only source of work that they actually have. There's some voice actors out there who are the gatekeepers who that's really all they do is just dub anime. They don't really get a lot of work doing other things. They don't get a lot of work, doing cartoons or video games as much as they do anime. And so in order for them to provide for their family and keep their studio going or keep their personal business running, they have to take on as much anime work as possible. And a lot of these guys are really, really close to the people who run the studios, or they are the people who run the studios in general. And so in order for everyone within that small group to make enough money, they can't be always handing out auditions. Now, the good news is that animes are being made every single day. There are more and more animes being made constantly, and there are more studios that are popping up here and there. Not as many studios popping up as I would want there to be. I kind of would like it if there were at least one dubbing studio for anime per state. I think that would be better, because right now it's basically Texas and California, maybe. There's not really a lot of options. And these, of course, each studio is basically run by a close group of friends and or family that basically just divide the work amongst themselves. And again, I don't blame them, okay? Gatekeeper shouldn't be a derogatory term. It should just be something that we understand that there is someone who does that, and there is a group of people who are technically keeping people from auditioning and even knowing that there are auditions and won't even talk to them, won't review their demos, even no matter how good they are, will not let them even audition or even know that there's auditions. Most of that is because of how little it pays and how little profit there actually is doing anime. I get how this kind of thing can be very discouraging. It's very discouraging for me, especially someone who has done a lot of other things. I've done almost everything else, but not anime, officially. I mean, I've dubbed cartoons for a company in France. I've dubbed cartoons for some people in Singapore, but not anime. And it just bothers me because it's like the one thing I can't get into. I can't find out. And, it's the not knowing that really kills you. I think it'd be better if people at least knew why that there was this kind of very narrow gate, this eye of a needle that a camel has to go through, that is preventing so many other people, the general masses of really talented voice actors, from actually getting into anime. I wish there was at least some statement saying why, because when you keep it a secret, when they don't tell you, it seems very dishonest. It seems very sleazy, even though it's something that I get. I understand. There's not enough work that would actually pay, and the only way to actually make enough money is to do a lot of voices and a lot of characters, meaning that there's not enough roles to go around. And also, there's not that many animes that are actually being dubbed in English. There are thousands and thousands of animes released almost every year from various countries, but not all of them have second seasons. But there's not that many that are actually being dubbed in English. A couple reasons. Number one is not every subject matter in every anime translates well to America. Some morals that they just don't carry over. There's a bit of a divide. Maybe I'll go into more detail on that later, but there's a reason why some animes are dubbed in English and then some are just not. No matter how much fans really, truly like them, there's just some subjects that don't carry well in America. So there's not that many animes that are actually being dubbed, and there's not that many named characters. And if you were to just he was like, I'd be fine doing background character. Well, then you're not going to get paid anything. Just doing a regular background nobody, it's almost nothing. Like, if you're just going to be like, in the back for no reason, you're not getting paid for shit, okay? You have to have a lot of lines to actually be worth it, for them to actually bring you in. I really wish, couple things. I wish that there were more animes being dubbed in English. I wish there were more studios that people could approach. Because right now there's 3 that I know of. And if you don't get past the initial, hey, how's it going, on those 3, that's it. There's no other option. I wish it paid more so that people could open the gates a little bit more. And I wish that there was more communication between those who do anime and are in charge of dubbing anime and the rest of the people. Because you can ask a voice actor who leads in any field anything else, and they will tell you, hey, what kind of mic should I get? What's your situation? What are you trying to go into? And they can help you out, and you can get into that field. What kind of demos should I have? People will help you get demos. Where should I post it? They'll help you post it. How should I format my resume? How should I email people? How should I present? Any other question you can ask, people will answer. If you want to get into video game, people can help you to get into video game. Get into cartoons, people can help you to get into cartoons. Get into anime, silence. And it's really, really weird. And so that's why people use the term gatekeepers as a strong derogatory term. Mostly just from frustration. A lot of people are out there who would love to do those kinds of roles that just have no idea what it is they need to do. And there's also a reason why they can't tell people. There's a reason why people can't just have like a checklist for anything. If you give people a checklist of, okay, here's how you could get into anime, do these things and then you'll get in. Because there still would be so much more involved in that than just hitting those checklists. It's more than just having a really good recording space. It's more than having a decent microphone. It's more than having fast internet, acting skill, a good resume, demo. It's more than all of those things. And just because someone hits all those marks, just because someone can technically check off every single one of those boxes, doesn't mean that they would be good to work with, professional, and would actually be good at dubbing anime. There's a lot more variables. I personally would like to know at least a general outline of what the expectations are, or what those who are preventing others from getting into anime are actually looking for. I would kind of like to know, even if it's very general and very broad. What is it that's preventing amateur voice actors or inspiring voice actors from getting into this field? It would be nice to know that. But nobody's talking. And outside of, from what I can gather, living in the same city, knowing them personally, I don't see anything else. I don't see anything else other than being nearby and knowing the people that are in charge or directing or producing these kinds of things, that there's any other way of getting into anime. And it's really kind of frustrating. And there really aren't gatekeepers for many other things. I mean, I think for getting into things like, if you wanted to do a Pixar film, if your dream was to do a Pixar film or whatever, there's the Screen Actors Guild, and then there's just having representation, and then being talented. And these are things that, we're all striving for anyway. And then maybe if you get those auditions and you land it, you'll get the job, you'll get the role. But when it comes to anime, it's not Screen Actors Guild, and there are no standards. There's at least nothing that's being said, nothing that's being stated. I really wish this was more of a video with answers. This isn't a video with answers, technically. I did give few of what I've been able to gather from what I've been able to understand. I also have had small conversations with people in the field of anime, and they've I'm not going to... you know me, I will never say names unless it's like I'm reacting to a video and I'll try to be less brutal. But there have been some people who have done small roles in anime who've literally told me to basically stop trying and stop asking and stop pursuing it. Very rarely will they go into detail, but there have been some people that I've messaged and some people that I know pretty well. Some people, I've, talked to, even Skyped with in the past who eventually got anime roles, and I was talking to them just trying to genuinely, just nicely, ask and trying to get some information, and they got upset that I was asking. So I don't know what it is. I don't know why this is such a blight on the voice acting community. I don't understand why this particular area of voiceover is locked with so many keys, and we'll never know why unless you're already in that circle. And then there's like, I guess it's like the Illuminati or like, I don't know, the Bilderbergs. Or that's probably what it is. That's probably why it's so frustrating, is that it feels like a secret organization, like the Freemasons, is that it's so tight and it's so tight-lipped and it's so locked and there's so many secrets and I think that's why people pursue it as much as they do. I think that's why it's on such a high pedestal, or it's such a big goal for a lot of people, is because it seems unobtainable. And a lot of things that are unobtainable have more personal value, because if it's something that's hard to get, if you can get it, it feels like you did more, even if it's the same amount of work, the same amount of effort, and the same amount of energy that you would anything else. Even if it just fell in your lap for some weird reason, it would still feel like you earned it more than you did any other thing, because it's so unobtainable for a lot of people. Not everyone, just a lot of people. And that's it. That's all I got, because I don't have other answers. I don't have more conclusions. I haven't personally found out really anything other than what I've been able to gather on the business end. The whole point of this video, I guess, is to say relax and calm down. If you are someone who's trying to get into anime voiceover like I am, don't stress too much over it. Just like anything else, if it comes to you, great. If you get the gigs, great. If you do everything else in the industry but never do anime, did you fail? Was all of the trying, was all of the auditioning, was all of the demos that you produced or had paid someone to produce, was all the coaching, was all the money and effort setting up your studio, was all that not worth it? I'd say it'd be fine if I did literally everything else. And I've done a lot. Done a lot of different kinds of roles, different kinds of gigs. So far, I've done voiceover for games that are on every single platform, every single major platform. Not platforms that are no longer used, okay? Not talking, not talking like PlayStation 1 or stuff like that. I've officially worked for Marvel. I've got tons of cartoons online that I've done. I've dubbed stuff for other people. I'm in films. If I never do anime, it'd kind of be a bummer, but it wouldn't be a waste. It wouldn't upset me. Do I know that I could do it? Yeah. I've tested myself. I've had other people test me. We've done various projects very similar that require the same level of skill. And yeah, I think I could do it. But if no one ever asks me to and no one ever allows me to, and then I just continue what I'm doing, I'd be fine. I'd be fine. So you need to think about that too. Don't let it stress you out. Don't put it at too high a pedestal. It's a neat and fun goal. I mean, it's a fun and different and challenging area of voiceover that I think everyone should try at some point. But if you don't, and you've done everything else, and you're not hurting for money, you're actually making money doing voiceover, you succeeded. You didn't fail. That's it. So, anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. But you have to say why, very specifically why, not just, I hate your face. And, yeah, if you have any other questions, leave those down in the comment section below. Or you can email me in the description. Email's there. Also on my social media. Follow me anywhere. That's totally fine. And, yeah, that's going to be it. And until next time, peace.